Hi there. My name is Rachel Justicia, and I am a certified nutrition coach and NLP practitioner, as well as a certified metabolic balance coach. And I wanted to talk a little bit about preventative health today, and you being in the driver's seat of your own health, and more importantly, you taking charge and understanding that it's your responsibility, not anyone else's, to prioritize your health. I say this because I'm going to send a newsletter about this, and I felt like maybe this feels a little harsh, and so I thought I would do a video and just add my tone to it so that it felt a little bit more heartfelt, I guess. Because the reason that I say this is because I've been through a shitstorm with my own health, and being in the business that I'm in, I talk to a lot of people, obviously, and I think that, anyone who's in a successful business understands that relationships are the key to having a successful business. And so I have conversations all day long with people every day over the past 11 years. And, I was reminded of a conversation that I have had with a close friend. And this was many years ago. And I'm sure that you've all maybe have this friend where they're in a completely toxic relationship, whether it's abusive or just toxic, or it's just not healthy in general. But that unless shit really hits the fan, or they are kind of forced into it, they won't actually leave that person. They'll just come to you and complain, and you'll listen, you'll be supportive, but in the back of your mind that change probably won't happen. And I sort of feel this way a lot when I listen to people about their health concerns, because maybe at first things are mild, or they don't seem like a big deal, or they'll get a prescription for this, and it's treatable, or they're told it's somewhat normal. And trust me, I've been through all of the cycles of doctors and referrals and tests and MRIs and blah, blah, blah. And what happens when we don't prioritize our health is that we start to have this idea that we are either untouchable, and that things will kind of magically, get better, or that, you can just kind of continue to treat the symptoms, and, things will all be fine. And far too many times, and I've seen it, I've watched it, what happens is that things are not fine. Things get worse. We don't listen to our bodies. Things start to fall apart. And there's a saying that goes, tomorrow is not promised. And I think that over the past several years especially, we have been faced with a lot of pain and a lot of loss and a lot of illness, especially obviously coming out of a pandemic and all of that. And I think it's really important that we shift this idea that, a prescription or a Band-Aid approach to our health is going to be the answer, because it's just not. And at some point, things are going to go awry. And that's not to say that, you're doomed for a disaster to happen. That's not what I'm saying. What I just want to encourage you to do is to understand and get to know your body, and be curious about all the things that are happening instead of relying on somebody else to give you some sort of diagnosis or some sort of quick fix to treat the symptoms that are happening. And really, that's really what ends up happening. Well, several things end up happening when you are going about this and you're not really on the preventative road and you're more on a reactive state of mind when it comes to your health. And that is, things like you end up spending way more money than you originally thought you would. I hear all the time, well, coaching is expensive, or, functional medicines or naturopaths or acupuncture or whatever, that's expensive. And it's like, yeah, maybe it appears that way, but I will tell you that after spending close to $50,000 on my health because shit did hit the fan, and mind you, some of that, I couldn't have known about, but my point is it gets really expensive. The other thing is that you end up wasting a ton of time because you're seeing, unfortunately, the way our medical system is set up is you go in and then, they want to put in a referral and they want to run a test and they want to see this and they want to do that. And it's like, then you fall victim to this cycle of like, going from one doctor to another, and no one, in my opinion, it's not very common that if they don't know the answer, they actually will come out and say that. They kind of shuffle you around, and this is where, you can really take over or really stand in your own power if you know your body. And the less preventative health that you take on and become in charge of, the less likely it is that you're going to know your body and you're going to be more and more disconnected to your body, which means you're going to rely more on other people's opinions, other people's suggestions, Band-Aid and treating just the symptoms and not really getting to the actual root cause. And that's what happens when you aren't curious and when you just want to feel relief right away in the moment. And I get that. I totally get that. But in the long run, you are doing yourself a disservice. The other thing that is important to know is that unconsciously what happens in our brains is that it also reinforces the idea that we are not worthy of taking the time, the money, the energy to put that into our health, that it's not necessary, that, that it's too expensive, it's too time consuming, etc. And there are usually unconscious limiting beliefs when it comes to things like our health, or not taking charge. Some people disassociate completely. They want to be in a state of denial. It feels too hard, or they're too intimidating at times, which I can totally relate to. This piece of hair is driving me nuts. So, what I just want to encourage you to do is be curious and take initiative. You want to be the one in the driver's seat. And this is not a blast on medical care professionals. What I'm saying is that I believe you have the power and the knowing to have a collaborative relationship with anybody that is working with you in terms of your health. In addition, you deserve that. And I think that many of us need to be reminded that we are worthy and deserving of feeling good and not just surviving in this world, but thriving. And we get so caught up in the day-to-day and the stress and all the things, and we think I can't fit that in my day. When would I start? When would I do that? Like, how, that's too hard. But there will come a point where you will need to face it. And I I just want to encourage you to start thinking about that now, because there's no better investment than your health. There just isn't, because if you are not healthy, if you do not feel good, nothing else works. Things start to fall apart. The life around you starts to fall apart. And it's really important to take action. So I hope that this helps you maybe take a look at some of the areas that maybe you aren't prioritizing and should be. And if you need any guidance or support in that area, I am here. And I wish you all the best.